Episode 293 of the TV Dudes, recorded July 30th, 2020. Second look. This week it's time for a second look. Second look at Kill la Kill. Second look at Peacock's initial offerings with Brave New World, The Capture, and Psych 2. And the return of Quibi Qorner.
Quibi Qorner.
Die Hart drew us back in like we knew it would. And then Randy went down a rabbit hole to finish Doll and watch Royalties. Kyle watched another one. So Quibi Qorner is back for one last hurrah. But before we get to all that, I am Randy Lander.
I'm Kyle Scott.
I'm Les Weiler.
And we're the TV Dudes. I threw in last names this week, guys.
Why are we doing last names?
No, that's kind of... We're dignified TV Dudes.
It was the second look.
Ah, yes.
Two names. All right. So before we get to all of that, we need to get to the power ranking.
Power ranking.
This is kind of an exciting week. I feel like every week, well, except for last week when we didn't have power rankings, we are just breaking new ground with these power rankings, guys.
Rankings.
If you are new to the party, here's what we're talking about. Every week, we scour the internet. We go through IMDb, Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes. We pull up that perfect score that tells us just how much the internet loves all the shows that we talk about. We mash all the numbers together and we get a definitive ranking of the top 100 plus shows we've talked about in 2020. I think we are now on lucky number 104.
Yep.
But anyways, so what we like to do is like to talk about the shows that we did last week and see where they lined up in the ranking. And as Randy just pointed out, this is double look, so we're kind of talking about a couple shows we're going to talk about here in a second. But down at the bottom, this is no surprise. Number 97 out of 104 on our list is the 30 Rock one-time special. We Can Hope.
It knows what it did.
People
yeah, I know.
this thing.
I'm being lame. I watched the thing that Les sent us after last week. This isn't a good thing for NBC, but yeah, it's a little cheap.
Oh man, Alf and Camp Candy. Oh yes, yeah, everybody should go find the Saturday Morning Saved by the Bell introduction. It's
so can I
a little throwback love.
I want to real quick mention something that I feel is a travesty of justice. 30 Rock, because it's on Peacock, that you can watch that special anytime you want. The much better Parks and Rec one that they did, I just finished a rewatch of the Parks and Rec, of Parks and Rec, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go watch that. It's nowhere to be found. Like,
and it was on Hulu for a minute. I can't believe it's still on Hulu.
It was on Hulu for a minute. It's not on there. It's not on Prime. It's not on Netflix. It's not anywhere that Parks and Rec is on. You cannot buy it. Like, I was willing to buy this damn special to watch it again, but no, it's just gone, as if it had never existed. Nope. No, there's lots of reaction videos, but yeah, it's like it is as if they deliberately decided to take down Parks and Rec to make 30 Rock look better. It's a travesty of justice, and I hate it.
That sucks. Yeah, no, big bummer. Number 76, which granted I didn't watch a ton of this, but I'm thinking from what I'm seeing, this is kind of high up on the list, but or low on the list. That's Intelligent. Oh, never mind. I got it confused with that show, The Capture. No, Intelligence was the bad show.
Intelligence is the bad show.
Spot. Also over on Peacock with like a 258 out of 400. That's not great.
No,
especially
and let me point out, by the way, most of the critics got this more or less right. 60%, 54%, 44%. The audience at Rotten Tomatoes gave it 100%, and I don't know who those people are who loved that show.
Those are Russian bots that the marketing department
right?
for Peacock went and put out there. Yeah, but even with that 100 audience score, it is still really low on our list. Which tells you something.
It deserves to be lower, and also, I bet it's Schwimmerheads. There's a big fan gathering on the internet. They just flooded Rotten Tomatoes with 100% reviews.
It's like the second biggest to like the K-pop movement.
Yeah.
They don't quite have that clout, but they can get some stuff done.
Yeah, people love K-pop and David Schwimmer.
So then, something I was surprised to find 97 audience score over on Rotten Tomatoes, and then not terrible scores everywhere else, but that is the series Kill la Kill, which we have been going through.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and actually, it probably would rank a little higher because it's missing a score at, is it Metacritic? It's someone
yes. No Metacritic ranking for this.
Yeah.
But its rankings everywhere else are strong.
Did you guys see there's a Kill la Kill video game?
No, but that didn't shock me.
Yeah, lots of reviews for that. I could have got a Metacritic score for that. Just keep the numbers that way. But no, yeah, I'm kind of excited to talk to you guys about it because last week I was definitely in the this is weird and pervy and I don't even know if I feel comfortable watching this to, okay, I see what they were doing.
And this week, 2 out of 3 TV dudes have not changed their opinions.
So now a little higher on the list, and this doesn't surprise me because I was actually really digging this show, The Capture, Season 1, over on Peacock.
Yeah.
In our number 38 spot.
It's very British, Kyle.
It is very British, and it's very, well, we'll get into this in a second, but it wants you to come back and watch more.
Yep.
It begs you, come back, see what happens next. Which leads us to our top-ranked show. Actually, that was it.
That was it?
That was our top-ranked show from last week. Ooh, number 38. That's, they didn't break any ground.
Yeah, Peacock did not come out super strong, but The Capture is definitely their most solid offering of the stuff we've watched. Although I'd be curious to see where Brave New World lands after we talk about that.
Yeah, I I'm kind of excited to talk about that. It deserved a second look that first week. We didn't give it a fair shake or any shake at all in some cases.
All right, well, thank you for that, Kyle. Thank you for the power rankings. Let's jump on over to the return of the final Quibi Qorner. This time I think it is the final because all our subscriptions have lapsed.
Yes, I would have to actually get paid for Quibi.
Yeah.
You re-up.
Kyle,
okay.
Did you re-up?
I re-upped for a month.
You're the Quibi-liever of the three of us.
Quibi-liever. Well, the thing is, once you were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna give it another shot," I was like, I didn't need an excuse. I was kind of digging it.
I mean, I'll be. We'll talk about it. I'll be real. I would pay for at least one more month if I could kick it over to my TV.
Same. If I didn't have to stream it from my phone, and Les doesn't have like a Chromecast or an Apple TV, which are the two things.
There is not a device in my 2020 modern full of junk devices home. There's nothing that'll cast it to my TV.
And so, if they would,
TV dudes, listeners, will you please get over to the Less Fans Only page and help support this man to get a new Apple TV?
But that's the point. He shouldn't have to. I mean, I have an Apple TV. I can stream it.
I'm not buying a new device. It's like if one studio just started putting their movies out on a different format, like on beta again. And
that's what it is. Quibi's on beta.
And so is Peacock, and so is HBO Max, in my opinion.
So I have a new theory about Quibi. I've kind of, my recent jump back in, I've realized something. I don't think Quibi is competing with Netflix and Hulu and the other streaming services.
I don't think they are either.
No,
I don't either.
Quibi is competing directly with YouTube and Twitch.
Yes, I can see that.
If they want to offer something that's more organized than YouTube, that they can brand in a way that a lot of people brand their live streams now, something that is going to be consumed on a mobile device or on the go.
I'll go you one further. I think Quibi is actually in the market competing with Twitch and YouTube, but I think they set out to compete with NBC and Netflix and Hulu because I don't think Katzenberg or Whitman, either one, have heard of Twitch.
No, probably not. And also, Twitch and YouTube are both user-generated content and viral and a very different kind of thing. Quibi is not. It's not that same kind of thing. It doesn't belong in that
correct,
space.
But
you're bringing TV to the YouTube market.
It's a different user, though. They're talking about the consumer of the content. So, like, everybody knows most of the people who go to YouTube go to watch stuff, you know? There's tons of... Anybody can post anything, but most people go to watch. And I feel like...
Very few of us are terrible enough people to be a YouTube content creator.
the YouTube transaction, you know, the, like, 5 to 30-minute long video that a lot of people, like, sign up for. I feel like that attention span is what Quibi is targeting. Or... whether it's intentional or not, Les makes a good point. This is probably me just speculating, but I think those are the eyeballs they want to get, not necessarily the primetime TV folks.
I think you're right. At this point, after reading that article, I don't believe they were slick enough to aim at that target. But
yeah, they're bringing the golden age of radio to streaming.
Their content's fantastic. Like, their content is still, even their new show. I can't believe that there's a new crop of shows, and that they appear to be just as good or better than the first round, and that's fucking nuts. So, like, they don't have a lack of content. I kind of love the 8 to 10 minute frame stretch.
Same.
It literally, if it weren't on, if I could get it to my TV, I would definitely. I was telling Randy before we got on the mic, if I could get it to my TV, I would definitely buy probably 3 months of this, if nothing else than just to show all of these shows to my partner.
Yeah, if this was on, if this was,
but I don't want to hold my phone over there.
Yeah, if this is an app I could download, I would watch it. But it's streaming did make a difference. Like, I did watch more of it than I would have just on my phone, but that's the thing that's killing it for me. So let's talk about the actual content, because the content is the king here. Like, they do have really great content. The thing that we've been kind of watching for, I think this is what got us all on the Quibi in the first place, is Les saw Die Hard and he's like, oh, I got to get us some of that. And he talked us into a 90-day trial.
At AFF, at Austin Film Fest last year, I got to meet with Tripper Clancy, who's one of the writers on Die Hard.
I was like, why does that name sound so familiar?
He also
Every
wrote
time the credits came up.
Yep, he also wrote Stuber. He wrote on This Is Not
This Is Not
Okay.
Yeah,
or I'm Not Okay with This.
I Am Not Okay with This. Yeah, he wrote a couple episodes on that. Really nice guy. It was a really fun interview. I laughed way the fuck harder at Stuber, the movie with Kumail Nanjiani and Dave Bautista than I thought I would, and ended up really, especially when I got in with Stuber, I was like, okay, shit, this guy's doing Die Hard. He talked about it in the interview, and was like ridiculously excited about it. Of just like, no. Someone pitched like me I can't think the other guy who co-created it, but someone else pitched him the idea. They didn't have this title apparently, and he was like, why the fuck are you not calling this Die Hard? And it stuck, and then they just ran with it. I've watched. I haven't quite finished this out. And
did you get to the when he tries to escape and meets the scary guy with the motorhome?
No.
I didn't get.
I don't think I made it that one.
Oh, you guys didn't get to that part?
No.
So I only got I got 3 or 4 episodes in before my Quibi shut off. So
I'm going to end up watching this with ads because I'm going to end up paying $5 to finish out Die Hard. It's going to piss me off.
So
let me tell you.
Wait a minute, hold on, guys.
Set it up, and then I'll kind of give you what you guys missed.
This is important. The co-creator of this show with is it Clancy?
Tripper Clancy.
Tripper Clancy.
That's just a great name, guys. Come on, Tripper. Tripper's just a great name.
Is Garrett Kolstad, who you might not know the name until I tell you, he wrote John Wick.
Oh.
And then he wrote John Wick Chapter 2, and then he did the screenplay of 3. He is also writing on the Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
That is what, yeah. So Tripper is the side of this writing team that brought shit like Call It Die Hard.
Yeah. And the
action stuff is yeah. No, this really fit.
This was a fun premise. So basically, Kevin Hart.
I didn't even know. Yeah.
Kevin Hart has kind of a meltdown on camera. He's tired of being the funny sidekick. He wants to do action, and he gets
like his 13th movie with The Rock.
His agent sends him to this action camp where all the action stars go, and it is run by a man played by John Travolta in this bald, bearded, scary vibe, and then he quickly starts to realize, wait a minute, I think this guy might actually be trying to kill me.
I mean, from the moment he walks in, you're not sure if it is like a rehearsal or an actual drug deal, but either way, they hit him with an aluminum bat. And then when he wakes up with the smelling salts, they gaslight him from that point forward of like, it was a plastic bat. It's like, man, I heard it hit my skull.
And then they bring in another actress who I think is Ramsey from Fast and Furious, right?
Oh, yes.
And she's great at it all.
And then there's further twists. There's a twist involving Jean Reno that I'm like, oh man, that's good. And I assume there's further twists beyond that.
Like, they go even further.
So this was super fun and funny and like cracked me up and beautifully shot, as with all things on Quibi. Like,
as with all things Quibi,
it's really good.
Yeah, and the pacing of how they hit to the 8-minute mark, or how they hit to their 8 to 10 minute mark, is again the comedy pacing. It all works. It gives all their shows for me so far a little bit of the same feel, I think, because of that structure. But it so far they all know what they're doing. I kind of want to know what blanket advice was given to the showrunners of these things to help them all nail this format the same way. Yeah, because I would have assumed some of these shows would just have radically fucked up the time constraint of pacing their show.
Right.
So what I think the real strength of Die Hard is that they give Kevin Hart's character, which he's playing himself in this, they give him a complete arc where he goes from not just complaining, because that would be really cliche, but like the jokes are all about how much he complains. All right. Yeah. And you see it, even though he's like, I don't complain. The next thing he does is like just a funnier version of of the parody they were just making of him. The doll that they dress up like him, has a little voice box that says his catchphrase from his.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. And Travolta's just like, what are you talking? I've had that doll since way before I even met you.
Yeah. It doesn't look anything like you. What are you talking about?
Every day he brings that doll out, it's dressed like how Kevin Hart is dressed that day. It's so good. But no, they get, which granted there's some cabin in the woods type scenarios, and they do some twists, so I don't think really spoiling it by making the comparison. But they do give him some moments, especially I think towards episode 7. Like I said, there's a scene where he actually tries to escape and he encounters like somebody out in the woods. And you start to see this turn, and in the last couple episodes, without knowing it, he really starts to kind of embody the things he learned as an action star. If nothing else, to not be such a punk and just go for it, and stand up to squirrels. But yeah, the moment where like he kind of pulls himself together, I was getting a little choked up. I was like, this is some heartful stuff, guys.
Man, it's better than it has any right to be. And it's interesting because you talk about having an arc. I finished watching Doll. Was it Doll? No, Dolly. This is Dolly. No. And I know that, Kyle, you at least finished. I don't know, Les, if you finished this one. But I finished watching this one, and I'm like, oh, this is actually, despite the fact that it's based on a woman with a relationship, seemingly hallucinatory racial relationship with her boyfriend's sex doll, actually kind of has a heart. Like, I was like, oh, it's going somewhere, and it's a good finale, and I'm glad I finished watching it. And it's another one of these, like, all of these have this amazing cast. Like, Die Hard is Kevin Hart and John Travolta. Fucking Josh Hartnett's in it. Like, Dolly is Anna Kendrick and Donald Logue, and it's just there's no way.
They got a Hemsworth. They've gotten
And then the other one.
You watched Royalties, right?
I watched Royalties, and this is Darren Criss from Glee and various other things, Hollywood most recently. He co-created this, and the thing that got me is Heather Donahue from You're the Worst. The two of them are songwriting partners, and they wind up sort of making a hit song, and then it's about their partnership and them trying to be producers in this world of songwriting. And it's funny, and it's weird, and I greatly enjoyed it.
Nice.
It made me remember the You're the Worst karaoke moments in like Becca and Vernon's parties usually, and I think Becca sings a duet in one, and she's not Becca. Heather Donahue's got Lindsay sings a duet in one, and she sings a Kate Bush song I think in another.
Yeah.
And of course she's the hook on New Phone Who Dis. But
well, she was in Pitch Perfect, so I mean she's got some legs.
That's right. Yeah, and so I love her voice. I love her. She's freaking hysterical. And Quibi, I thought you were dead.
Also, Royalties has John Stamos in a very memorable role.
Oh, nice.
And then, Kyle, you watched Bad Ideas.
Yeah, Adam Devine's Bad Ideas. Guys, I don't throw this out very often, and God knows there's not a deficit of people who have tried to imitate this model. But this is getting close to the Top Gear model for me. All right.
God.
This is essentially it's a show we talked about a few weeks ago, Travel Man. But with American sensibilities. It stars Adam Devine of Workaholics and Pitch Perfect and a million other things.
Yeah.
And he gets a celebrity friend, and they just go do something that's usually a bad idea. For instance, in the first one, they go down to the Caribbean to a pepper eating contest where they eat like 10 of the hottest peppers in the world. And the 10th one is so hot that Adam Devine eats it, and he instantly starts throwing up.
Oh, God.
It ends with him in the ocean, like, dumping milk, like, down his throat and, like, throwing it up and, like, just doing whatever he can to get the... and then they do... they did a Demolition Derby one with him and Blake from Workaholics, and then him and Durs from Workaholics. This might have been my favorite one. They take... it's, like, one of the most dangerous roads in the world. It's one of those, like, really windy roads through the mountain, like, over, like, 1,000-foot drop, to the super remote town in, like, a raggedy...
Are they in a fucking ice cream
with
truck?
Ice cream? Yeah, with ice cream.
I'm looking at a photo of this. Jesus.
Yeah, to take it to these... give ice cream to these little kids in this neighborhood. And, I mean, there's literally a part where Durs goes to, like, get out. They've stopped, and he slips and grabs the mirror and is, like, dangling. Now, granted,
Oh, my God.
He could have probably grabbed onto some bushes and only had to climb a little bit, but he's like action movie star dangling over the edge of this like big ravine.
Oh, my God.
No, it's pretty wild. There's an episode
great.
with Rebel Wilson. They do action movie stunts. They go to like one of those stunt ranches, learn how to break bottles over their heads and jump off
They
buildings.
should cross it over with Die Hard.
Yeah. No, because I gave Punk'd a shot with Chance the Rapper. He's the new host of Quibi's version of Punk'd. And I was having fun with that, but I gotta say, this show with Adam Devine is more of what you want from a concept like that. If you're looking for like the debauchery and kind of the pseudo unscripted, but we still know it's probably scripted, kind of hilarity, this is right up your alley.
All right.
This looks fun.
Yeah, also, and this is the one right now where they're doing like it's airing. So I don't know if
like
we mentioned this
4 of
recently,
7.
but the Quibi model, they release shows like a few shows a week. It always says like new episode in 2 days or like new episode tomorrow. They have like a different model for enticing people to come back to the platform quicker.
So I would say that ends the last Quibi Corner, except I've already said that once and been made a liar. So I'm going to say, for now, we're saying farewell to Quibi. But if they put an app that goes on the Roku, or if they get something so good that they draw us back in, or they give another 90 days free or whatever, we might return to Quibi, because we all like the content.
Yeah. Hear me, Quibi. My heart is open to you. I find a way to be on my TV.
I do feel like they're talking to us with those shows.
Yeah,
like they were
for
listening to TV Dudes and like, all right, Donald Logue, Anna Kendrick, that show's covered. Okay.
Right. Had the algorithm analyze our past episodes, get all the bold words, what stuff
Why
we
don't
love.
the TV Dudes like it? We can't figure it out.
Yeah, they got a TV Dudes will love it generator.
Yeah. None of my printed out emails have the answer.
Just like, boop. Terriers too, but they're on the island from Lost. Fuck.
All right, just a reminder, you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throwing us $1 an episode. In exchange for that, we get to keep with the streaming services like, I don't know, Quibi and Peacock and the ones we're actually paying for. And you help pay for our hosting costs. You get bonus content each week. Right now, we are finishing up our journey through the Fast and Furious franchise. This week, we're going to talk about Hobbs and Shaw. And
Fast and Furious present Hobbs and Shaw.
Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. And we've also got a new showrunner level. The showrunner level lets you pick a show, 2 shows actually, and tell us, hey, I want you to cover this on a future episode. We are going to be taking a second look at Kill la Kill, which was a pick from Mandy Kokot. She has another one on deck if she can figure out the right one. And we have a new showrunner, Tyler Thorson, who has requested that we watch Dark Side of the Ring on Vice via Hulu. So that is going to be coming up in a future episode. Anime and wrestling, 2 things I don't understand.
So are
Most
you guys
of what I know
familiar
about
with
wrestling, I learned from the movie Wrestle Madness. I'm just gonna
So
be real
are
honest.
you familiar with that name, Tyler Thorson?
Nope.
So, guys, that is my brother. I don't know if you remember this.
No.
But weeks ago, he threatened to make me watch this show, and I made the mistake of telling him about the showrunner level. So, Tyler, thanks for that.
This is what happens. Mandy is my friend, so we're basically just making our friends pay us to watch their shows.
There was that time that weirdo made us watch Grand Tour.
Yeah, that weirdo. Wait a minute.
Definitely not Kyle Scott.
Is the showrunner level just a practical joke we're playing on ourselves?
It is. I mean, when I realized we had it, it was like, I can play this joke on ourselves too. Ignore my grammar there.
Actually, yeah, I was like, Les was the one who turned it into a practical joke. I mean, until that, I was like,
it's just so good.
We could be a Patreon?
I did this to myself.
All right, let's talk new business. In fact, this week it's kind of a mix of old and new business because we talked about most of this, or at least the networks related, last week. We talked about some of these shows last week, but we wanted to give them a second look. And let's start off with Les and Kyle facing off as they have watched more Kill La Kill.
uh-huh.
Yeah, so I didn't watch the entire season. I did skip some in the middle. So I watched a few more after the first few that I'd watched last time. I watched the first couple, and I watched a couple more. Then I kind of skipped towards the end of the season, and I watched the last couple where she absorbs the absolute submission field and
So you know about kind of
thing.
how her... Have you seen where the other half of that scissors is at?
Yeah, and then them pairing
Yeah.
up and absorbing other life fibers and the original life fiber that's going to absorb the whole planet, and yeah, they leave the whole planet naked.
Okay.
It's
Yep. You know what you're talking about.
So there's a lot. The action of this is badass, and you can recognize that this is an anime that has watched other anime and is an overcranked version of its own genre. I get that. I get that vibe from it, and the little bit I'd read about it kind of.
There's also
led
a
me to
really
that, too.
cool art style. Like, I love when the typography pops up on the screen, where it's like people's names or things like that, and it's just the giant red letters that fill up the whole screen. It's a neat flourish. The same with like a lot of their slow-mo and like cutaways are these like cool like single frame paintings almost.
Yeah, the style of this is rad, and as far as like giant bug shit crazy fighting that just keeps one-upping itself on insanity, there's a lot to love about this show. For me, it does what most anime does, and it shits its own bed by being apparently unable to decouple Skinamax Midnight from every single show.
Tag me in, Les.
Go for it.
Because this is where I checked out. I got to episode 4, season 1, which is the no tardy day, where they have to run an obstacle course to get to class, and if they're tardy, they're kicked out of school.
I did see that one.
Yeah, and it's a great episode because all genres do this, but she doesn't have her. Is it Kamui? Is that the name of the garment?
Kamui. Yep.
Yeah, so she doesn't have her Kamui. It's of course being long.
I forgot what the name of it is. Fresh blood.
But so we get to see what she does when she doesn't have her powers. And I was like, this is an entertaining episode. But then the next episode, it was just back to like everybody's half naked. Everybody's not 18 years old yet. Like all of that. So that's when I
Everybody's
switched gears.
homeroom teacher just keeps hitting on her and taking her naked and then freezing her acupuncture, and then he's constantly stripping naked for no reason while talking. Mako's dad, she wakes up to Mako's dad humping her in his underwear and then knocks him to the ceiling in like the second episode.
Now that part I can't excuse. The family, her adoptive family, is super creepy.
But I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No. Because like everything Les is saying, and if you watch this, my wife saw it on in the background and was like, "Is this some type of like pornography type thing?" Like she didn't even know. But here is what I know from video essays, I've gathered that they were attempting to do at the show, which is essentially talk about how clothing creates a hierarchy within society. You know, these characters, they have these 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star uniforms, and as you go up, the uniform has more of the life fiber in it, and it can make the person who wears it more powerful, more successful, and it's a metaphor for, like, in society, you know, the suit you wear, or the type of clothing, and how that defines who you are as a person. But then it gets into some Adam and Eve territory, where you find out that the clothing is a metaphor for the system that bonds everybody together, and that our heroes in this story want to liberate themselves from clothing, because
Nudist
liberating
beach.
themselves, yes, they're literally called Nudist Beach, because to eliminate that original sin, it would eliminate the entire, you know, structure that enslaves all of them. So there's a really great reveal after, I feel, the first major story, where you have kind of a Goku and Vegeta moment, where when we start the series, you know, our biggest threat, we find out, is actually kind of our main character's number 2, and that they have to come together to take on this much bigger threat, which is clothing itself, the life fiber, which has come to, like, take over the planet. They even get into how, you know, when we were Neanderthals and apes and we didn't wear clothing, this alien sentient clothing came to the planet and made us all feel ashamed for having bare bodies, and created the system of, like, now we all need to wear outfits to show that we're better than each other.
I gotta say, I like that part that was really coming when I jumped towards the end. That was really getting pushed forward in the story of, like, ha ha ha, the life force or the life fibers will absorb all of mankind and you can't fight because humans have always been slaves to fashion.
That's why they have the scissors. That's why the weapons are these scissor swords, is because they're to cut the fibers. It's all super on the nose tailor and clothing metaphors.
So where it was like a weird giant Grant Morrison, I kind of dug it.
And the villain is clothing. Like, that is literally the story they're trying to tell.
And that, honestly, that all worked for me. It's that they can't decouple nudity from underage sexuality. That's weird. And it's not just kill to kill. It's a lot of anime. Like, her homeroom teacher hitting on her endlessly while actually commenting in the dialogue about her being under the age of consent.
That was sexy so we knew he was joking. Oh, I know you're 17.
And everything I look up on
right?
this is like, well, it's to show an example because those characters never get the girl. Like, that's really, y'all, it's not getting that lesson across like you think it is. Also, this was sexy as fuck. So, like, I'm not denying that, like, it's straight up sexy. We keep calling them that because they are. Like, she has a camel toe in every time they show the suit. She's wearing, like, super sexy. If a stripper walked out wearing exactly that outfit, I'd be like, fuck yeah. So it's weird for me to sit through an entire show where they're all in high school commenting on being underage when I know that this isn't just people who happen to look like this in front of a camera. Dudes drew this to be sexy, to show to other dudes or ladies. I mean, but I feel like this is puerile and probably again, dudes.
Story is king. There is a reason why she's so scantily clad, which is the Kamui, when it comes into contact and it, like, fuses with her body, like, it shrinks up and exposes, you know, all these parts of her body, and it embarrasses her. So she's using all of this energy being embarrassed, and it's not until she learns to be comfortable with her naked body and showing it off that she can get, like, the full bond with her Kamui and unlock her true powers.
I think it's Mako makes a comment of, like, she can fight naked, she can do anything. I think it might be in, like, the tennis episode or something. And like how strong it makes her and how much empowerment it is for her
They're
to
all
gain
being super on the nose with that.
For her to gain power from the rape sailor suit.
Something else that did kind of give me a little bit of comfort was that everybody's like a Barbie doll underneath. Like, they don't show nipples, they don't show balls. There's like reflections over any type of private part.
But that's not a choice by the animators. That's a law in Japan.
That's a law.
Makes me much more comfortable to watch the scene where literally the breasts are popping up and down because the wind is hitting them.
Or every time that she's in like the red fiber cage thing, getting her like ultimate power, and her boobs are like flying up and down in the wind chamber. Yeah, I
still 17.
For me, I could not let go of the fact that this was created and drawn like this, and that the on the nose metaphors, I can't. They feel like rationalizations for why this is. I'm not making porn that I get off on. I'm saying something clever, funny.
Well, what's funny is I actually think the kinky parts of this aren't necessarily the nudity, but the scenes where the characters who are in the buff are like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I don't want anybody to see me like this. Like, I'm like, oh no, that's
I should have worn my fancier panties before the school kills me in the vat of
Why did I wear my good underwear? Like, I was like, okay, that's the creepy part. Like, if you want us to be like a nudists versus people in suits thing, like, you gotta get that shit out of there.
So there's a lot I loved about this, and there's a lot that I like about animation and things you can do in anime and the action and style of it. And I know Mandy's looking for a good second one to recommend that doesn't traumatize me. And really, I'm telling you, the only reason I'm traumatized is because I'm really confused why people keep recommending me things that are clearly drawn to be sexual, that are clearly underage people, and they put me in a weird position.
So this actually is an interesting segue. Because Kill la Kill is very sexualized, and its sexuality is everywhere. And I feel like the same thing is true of the next show we're talking about, which is Brave New World.
Agreed. I saw a lot of similarities.
My statement was to be the next anime we pick, if it can just literally be about something and not have sex as its, like if I was watching Battlestar Galactica, but then all the ships were powered by fucking, I'm less interested, right? That's a show called Lex. And I'm not as interested.
Here's the challenge, Les. You find me a Ryan Murphy show that isn't all about sex, I'll find an anime that isn't all about sex.
Yeah, but that's just one dude's show. I mean, like, anime is a whole genre.
Yeah.
There's got to be one that is not Skinamax. And that's the one I'd like to see.
So, Les, you did not get a chance to watch Brave New World just yet, but I know you're interested in watching it.
Yes.
Kyle, how much have you watched of it?
You're not going to spoil this for me. I mean, anything you spoil is their variant from a classic novel. So
I watched the first two.
Dose, I did too.
Okay, have you read the book?
I have not read the book.
Okay, so I read the book in college, so it's a long ways gone now, and I have just a vague recollection of it, but I really enjoyed the book, and so I wanted them to get this right, and so far, I'm half and half. Like, some of it I really like, and some of it I really dislike.
Okay.
Where did you come down on this?
With a lot of these shows, it takes time to kind of gather your opinion. Mm-hmm. I think it's something like Westworld, where they open up a bunch of like possibilities in the first few episodes, and you don't really find out till episode 6 or 7 in season 1 or season 2 whether or not the season's going to nail it. You know, in season 2, you find out pretty early, like, okay, they're doing something weird. People aren't going to get this. And we can't really make that judgment with this because the way that Peacock is set up is this introductory service. Instead of being like, all right, you have a week to watch as much as we have on here.
Right.
No, they're just only giving you limited amounts of these shows because they know the shows are designed in a way to leave you with a cliffhanger where you have to come back.
So there's only like 2 of Brave New World or something, and then it's going to be paywalled?
And then you can pay to watch the rest, yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to start this.
They leave awesome cliffhangers. They knew exactly what they were doing when they wrote this.
So, Kyle, did you enjoy this overall?
Yes, I think overall I enjoyed it.
How much of that is because of the British percentage? We need the British percentage.
Quite a large bit, actually.
It's pretty British.
Yeah. Well, what I love is that the New World is very British, and like the Savage Land is very American.
It's true.
They make a big point to do that.
So this takes place in an unspecified future where it's sort of a utopia. Everyone is assigned a class. There's like the alphas and the alpha plus and the betas and all this kind of stuff. And you stay within your class, and everyone is on various drug they call soma that kind of keeps everybody happy and placid.
Told me they're going to shoehorn politics into my
everyone is polyamorous. Monogamy is frowned upon and thought of as sort of as a savage thing.
And jealousy and weird secrecy and no
privacy, no family, no monogamy, and everyone is happy. Those are their 3 rules.
And then so we start in this society, and we're following a couple people who are sort of outliers in this. There's a woman who's kind of feels like maybe she wants something else, and there's an alpha who's like what is he? Is he a designer? Or I can't remember exactly what his job is. But
he's like security. So he when things are broken, he goes and enforces them.
But he also feels like someone who's like he's sort of he's enforcing the rules of the society. He's like, he will call you out if you're dating the same person over and over again. He'll be like, that's too much like monogamy. You need to break. And he himself seems to be sort of wanting a monogamous relationship,
or at least curious in it, and understand. Which there is a kind of an inciting incident, whereas a death happens. We don't know if it's an accident,
or a suicide,
or maybe even a murder. But the more impactful thing is that the 2 characters that interact with this person when they die, the CJack 197 and one of our leads here, we see them change, automatically start questioning everything that the show has kind of told us that their society believes, just from the sight of seeing a death.
So these 2, man and woman, wind up going on a vacation to the savage, not Savage Land because that's Marvel, but it's Savage Park basically. It's a Disney recreation of what the world used to be like, and it is very much America. Yeah, it's a reservation.
I mean, in the books, it is so painfully a reservation.
Yeah, and that's the thing I thought was because like I said, it's been a while since I read the book.
Down to the drunkenness problem. I mean, down to all the societal problems that we caused on our Native American reservations.
This is the Native American stuff is a little bit downplayed here, I would say. Didn't you think, Kyle? I felt like this was basically here is America has been trapped into this place, and the world has gone around it because they have monogamy land where they do staged weddings, and they show people getting pregnant instead of being born in the birth creches, and there's some basically they have all this the trashiest version of white trash America.
Yeah. It's interesting. I obviously I was like, that's kind of a weird use of the word savage, but in terms of the Native American metaphor, now I'm having trouble not thinking of that. Because it's one of those, it's done in a way to where we as white people, or as modern Americans, we are put in that position in this story. The only people who believe in not even really monogamy, I guess, in the sense of whether to be monogamous or not, but just to have the choice, to not be drugged out and part of this hive mind. Because it does seem like that is their idea of utopia, is that everybody works to be a hive mind or to be as one.
In the books they actually call it the Savage Reservation.
Yeah, and I think
it's in New Mexico.
And I think that I don't feel like they call it the reservation here, but they may or may not, I don't remember. But it did feel a little bit different from the book. But again, like I say, it's been a while since I read it. But
it's probably 10 years or so for me.
I'll say it's beautiful. The money that they put the money in there. They did a great job building the future. They did a great job doing this sort of over the top Savage Reservation. Alden Ehrenreich plays John the Savage, who is the guy who is going to, spoilers, Kyle, be brought back to the Brave New World from the reservation.
John the Savage.
And he's really good, and I like him in this role because he is, as we find out in the second episode, he was born in the reservation, but his mom is from the Brave New World, essentially.
Okay, that slipped for me, but that makes a lot of sense now. Speaking of which, Demi Moore playing his mom. I was a little surprised to see her pop up in here, and
she's really good in the role too. I didn't catch it at first.
Oh yeah. I cannot think, or I don't know this actress's name, but it seemed like a really small part, and then I was like, wow, they gave her a lot to do, and she was really good. But the actress who plays the pregnant woman in the stage show, it just kind of seems like a kind of a bit character at first, and then she turns out to be part of the bigger story. I found her performance pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
And then there's our leads from the Brave New World that you were saying that came in on vacation. One of them, again, I'm the worst with names, but I've seen her in Downton Abbey, and she was in that, not the Tudors, but that other one that was like the Tudors, Harlots.
Okay, yeah.
Seen her in a lot of period stuff. Great accent. And then the lead, whose name also escapes me, you've seen in a bunch of stuff, usually playing a villain. And in the beginning, he's kind of set up as the villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, towards the end of that second episode, you kind of feel bad for him. Like, he never really had a chance to be anything but, the bad guy.
So, are you gonna pony up for Peacock to watch the rest of this?
Oh my! Here's the thing: this show and the show we're going to talk about next, The Capture, both of these, I feel like, if it was any other model, I would have kept watching, no doubt. I want to see the next episode, but it's so clearly designed to get me to buy into the service. I'm like, give them the satisfaction.
Yeah.
I am interested in seeing that Grant Morrison is a writer on the Brave New World series.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It feels like a Grant Morrison. It's not weird, but it does have that sort of world building thought that he put into it. Like, this is a good adaptation of a novel I really like. It is the one show that would almost get me to keep Peacock, but it's not quite good enough for me to add another network, especially since it's one of the more expensive ones, I think. Isn't it like
and one I'd have to watch on my laptop.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. Yeah, they haven't launched it officially since it's not on Roku and it's not on Fire Stick.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's good, and if you have Peacock, I would definitely recommend watching it. But I can't quite make the leap to this is so good. It's the killer app that gets you on Peacock.
And you can tell by the trailer that they want it to be their prestige one that brings you in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I wonder, where do they get the money for this? Like, and can you make
Scheinhardt wig money?
If you put this on Hulu or Netflix?
Oh yeah, I don't know how this isn't I don't know how honestly this looks like an Amazon Prime series. The trailer for it looked like it should have been on Prime.
Yeah,
let's spend way too much on hard sci-fi.
Oh wait, maybe that's what happened. Maybe they were already working on the show and then
I wonder
Peacock
what
this.
May have to look up the production history on this. I wonder if this was partway through and then got moved to Peacock, or if it's one of those things that, hey, this was going to be on your flagship channel, but instead we're going to shun it over to. This was going to be a Sunday night show on NBC, but instead we're going to use it to launch Peacock. Aren't you lucky?
Yeah,
it actually.
Well, no, this was definitely not going to be on NBC. There is so much sex in this show.
Oh shit! That makes sense. They're all.
Yeah,
the whole point of the place is like, no, just stop behind that perfectly manicured row of hedges and fuck for a while. You're off.
There are at least 2 orgy scenes that are akin to the kind of things we've seen on Westworld. Like, it is. This would have been at the very least had to have been on pay cable.
I'm just going to take this as a Sense8 far-flung sequel.
No, I'm really curious because I think if people, here's what we've learned: not all these streaming services are going to last, which is a shame because each of them has at least one good show. I don't think there's been a total stinker yet in terms of like new streaming services.
I agree.
At some point, to dig themselves out of the hole that imploding is going to cause in their budgets, I think they're going to have to sell off chunks of content. And so I'm hoping that, like, while I don't want to necessarily see Quibi die because their content is really fucking good, I can hope that if Quibi were to blow like an $80 jillion hole in DreamWorks' budget or whoever the hell funded that, them selling off the IP to Netflix or Hulu or somebody would be a great idea.
Oh, yeah. So technically, if you make your shows good enough, you could make your money back by selling them to other networks.
By tearing
it apart. If they don't suck.
Yeah, Netflix has got some money to spend.
And if Peacock folds, they'll roll this shit into the NBC app or something else. I would.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, so let's talk
edit it down so they can put it on tape, basic.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about the other 2 shows on Peacock. One of which is Psych 2, Lassie Come Home.
Yes.
So I have seen a couple episodes of Psych, but I have not seen. I know they did a movie. I know the basic premise.
We'll keep it quick. If you like Psych, you'll love it. I mean, it's Dooley Hill and James Roday, who and he will always be Charlie from West Wing. Dooley Hill. Charlie's got some game. And James Roday, of course, everybody knows is the villainous racer in the Dukes of Hazzard movie.
Of course.
So the two of them run a fake psychic detective agency, which is really just Buster Doolitle's part-time job. And nobody in the show is psychic. It is entirely the Mentalist. In fact, they make a lot of references to how much Sean's dad thinks he's full of shit, but watches the Mentalist every week. And how much Sean hates that show. Because all he does, like, the cops won't listen to him. He's not a real cop, but his dad was. And so the premise of the show is that he keeps figuring out crimes in Santa Barbara, and the cops won't listen to him until he one time says, I can hear what plants are saying, and they say they want water. Like, basically. Like, he's like, I know he did it because psychic feelings. And buys himself some time. But then they just keep digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper.
Wait,
and deeper.
but he's really just a detective.
He's just super observational.
Oh,
basically, his dad is just a nut job detective. Was like super cop when he was growing up, and just kept like his dad was the dad that kept like, no, be more observational, Sean. Come on, figure it out.
Yeah, I saw that they do they always do flashbacks to that, or is that just occasionally they do flashbacks?
Back in the show, they would always open with like Buster and Sean at like age 5 or 10 doing something that would obviously pay off in the theme of the episode.
His dad is played by Corbin Burnson, I believe.
Yes, and his dad is Corbin Burnson. They've done a movie before. They've done musical episodes. They had Ali Sheedy and Jimmy Simpson has been on it as villains.
Damn it. Musical episodes are my kryptonite. That's what's going to get me, Les.
So on Peacock, you couldn't get this on Amazon for a while because you had to pay for it because it was like an extra episode or special movie. But on Peacock right now, they have the Psych musical, and it's a 2-part thing, and it is very much worth doing because the only reason it's a musical is that Ali Sheedy, everything's a musical for her in her head.
Oh,
and
man.
She won't help them if they don't play along. So it's just Ali Sheedy handcuffed while they try to figure out this serial killer problem, and she's the only one that knows anything, and she makes all of them sing everything. And
so
it's like Corbin Burnson. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If you only know the premise, if you haven't watched like the show, could you enjoy the musical episode as its own thing?
Yes, I think you could. I think it would catch you up, the musical episode. The Psych 2 movie, what this one was, Psych 2, Lassie Comes Home, this is for Psych fans.
Yeah.
I feel like. This one is coming back. You're catching up on stuff from before. There's like impending nuptials and that kind of shit. So it's a lot of needing to know the characters. Also, Detective Lassiter, who's now, I think, Police Chief Lassiter, is played by Tim Ombudsman, who you know as the spectacular beard in and King in Gallivant. So, I mean, he's got a great voice. He's a great singer, dancer, a fun actor. Had a stroke 2 years ago in real life, like a really bad stroke at, I think, age 47 or something.
Oh, wow.
Scary for me.
Yeah, me too.
And so this, I didn't realize that had really happened to him. I keep up on TMZ stuff and just, Tim Ombudsman haven't been in anything in about a year or two. Nobody's been in much this year, so fuck it. So I'm watching this and I'm realizing like they've carefully structured this whole thing around Lassiter's been shot and he doesn't know who shot him, and they're basically trying to figure it out while he's in the hospital before whoever's they're looking for kills him in the hospital.
Wait, so Lassiter is the Lassie? It's not just a... that's
Oh, no, he's Lassie, and they call him Lassie. So they're trying to get Lassie out of the hospital and get Lassie to come home. And so it's great, because like you realize partway through, like, oh shit, man, you're not acting like... you're recovering from a stroke.
Yeah.
And so there's some really wonderful moments where the character is getting stronger and better, and it's also the first time I'm sure that a lot of fans have gotten to see Tim Ombudsman get stronger and better. So it ended up being this show wears its heart on its sleeve anyway, and is a sappy, like, you're gonna love these characters. There's a ton of running gags in the show Psych. There's pineapples. There's a pineapple in every episode for no reason, but you can find Easter egg find the pineapple, and there's a whole Reddit thread of finding the pineapple in every episode. So there's all kinds of shit like that, and I felt like it's not reason for me to have Peacock, but if I had Peacock already, I would be overjoyed to find. This is one of the treasures. When they didn't have Night Court and they didn't have a bunch of other shit I wanted on Peacock, right. They did have all of Psych and this new movie. Kurt Fuller is who Randy will know as a judge from. I
know
Good
Kurt
Fight.
Fuller. That dude's been in everything.
Kurt Fuller is their long-standing coroner, like county coroner. They have to deal with all the time, right? Yeah. And he's Woody, and he's super fucking weird. Like, he's always eating food and losing track of it, and like getting off on tangents or asking somebody out on a date, and they're like, Woody, corpse, come on, man. And they call him out on like to where they are for this murder mystery, which is very kind of Agatha Christie at a hotel-ish kind of thing. And he, from the moment Kurt Fuller arrives, he's in a costume trying to do an accent and a limp and all of this stuff to help them. And like they're like, stop it, and he just won't. Like, so then it becomes like the whole half the movie they're just trying to avoid Kurt Fuller because he just ruins anything he's near. If you like Psych at all, or if you like the heyday of silly USA shows, I would give this a shot. It's worth it on Peacock.
One thing I think is interesting about Peacock, and I don't know if this is like just going to be like Disney Plus, where stuff is slowly going to gather back at the mothership, but Psych is still all on Amazon Prime. Like,
the reason I was excited is because the things that are missing are the musical episodes. That's it.
Yeah. So I'll watch it on Amazon Prime where there's no commercials and I'm already paying for it. I'm sure at some point
where I don't have to plug my laptop into a computer.
Peacock's going to gather up all these shows like Parks and Rec and 30 Rock, and they're going to take them from the place I was watching them and put them on this place behind this paywall. And it's just going to make me hate this network more. Like, they have to overcome that with and they haven't done it. So I don't give a lot of chance for Peacock to win me over. But I know that the last show is one that Kyle liked, and I liked okay. You just watched the first episode, right, Kyle?
Yep, that's correct. I was paywalled out from episode 2.
Yep.
Peacock!
Watched in a heartbeat, yeah.
So that show is The Capture.
Mm-hmm.
On a scale of 1 to British, Kyle, how British?
Yeah, well, this is...
Yeah.
British. There are shows that are British, and then there's quintessential British, which means it could not exist elsewhere. And the reason why this one's quintessential British is because the whole premise is around how Britain has kind of turned into a police state. And they have camera surveillance everywhere.
Oh, their CCTV thing, yeah.
Yeah. So how do law enforcement, detectives, federal investigation, that type of stuff, how do they work inside that paradigm? And it's really interesting. It's kind of reminds me a little bit of watching Wallander and seeing like cops kind of in like remote areas, and like how policing changes when you're like so spread out.
What was the show where the brother from Weeds was a billionaire that bought half a city?
Oh, man.
APB.
Wisdom of the Crowd.
APB.
APB. The Wisdom of the Crowd was Jeremy Piven crowdsourcing. If Reddit was Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, it was like a remix of that show.
So this is also about like what happens when this infallible system fails.
So that is kind of the question. Yeah. But yeah, they put it in a place where it's like, I have no clue after one episode, like if the camera system has problems, or if like we've got this awesome sociopath on our hands as this like main character.
Yeah, is it like an unreliable narrator? Yeah.
Like, the premise of the show really interests me because in real life, London is the most camera city on the planet by far. It costs a shitload of money to do, and so far it has not markedly lowered their crime rate.
Right.
Because they figured out that most crimes are impulse crimes, and if you want to punch that person while you're drunk, you don't look for a camera. And if you plan a crime, you plan
for the cameras.
And so it's not as... I mean, it is definitely helpful in terms of establishing evidence and finding... there's a lot of places where it is helpful, but it didn't do quite the magic thing that people thought that might do.
Well, so the show starts off very much the same way Making a Murderer starts out, where we see kind of our main character getting acquitted of a crime, actually using some logic that we've experienced shooting video for TV dudes, which is GoPro cameras, because of the frame rate they record at. If you try to sync sound with them, especially when we use multiple cameras, after a few moments, the lip syncs completely off. And what was happening is there was a military officer who's being recorded with one of these, and they got him shooting somebody, and then afterwards saying, "Hey, don't put your hands up." When in actuality,
so where did the warning fall? And is it the tape? Is it a digital error? Yeah.
Yep. The camera was known to sync the audio about 5 seconds off, and you turn it 5 seconds, and it's just the difference of 5 seconds there. You know?
But yeah, that's great. I like little tech conundrums like that.
It's a smart show. I like the actors.
Is only one of these though in front of the paywall?
Only one.
Yeah.
The rest of it you can watch right now. That's the thing. You can binge. They're not doing the dropping every week. Like
it's in the dude's coat. Like all of the other episodes are hanging right there in the guy's trench coat. But he'll only give you this one.
It's the opposite of Quibi.
Version's free, Kyle.
Where Quibi you've got to buy and then you got to wait till the episodes drop. This one, if you drop $9, you can binge all these shows right now. Like they're all on there. I think all of Brave New World, all of The Capture, all of Intelligence. If you are masochist, I think all of those are on there. So you can basically spend $9 and watch all these shows and watch them in a couple weeks, and then kill the subscription.
And Lisa won't even let me start a show that we can. Like if there's only one episode, she won't even let me watch that. Why would you show this to me?
So yeah, I don't know, Kyle. I think the answer is no. You're not going to continue with this. Was this closer
I'm
to getting?
definitely leaning hard towards the no. But here's the other thing.
Well, you already dropped that Quibi one.
We're going to run on TV sooner or later. That's just going to happen.
I've been crowing this for months, and I just saw an article last week that was like, "Have we hit the end of TV?" And I was thinking, well, if you don't count your phone, then yes.
So no, here's the thing. They're already starting to make shows again in Vancouver. What I think we're going to wind up with is a whole bunch of shows not starring American actors.
Yeah, well, I mean, so much of Marvel shit I think is being shot overseas, and that's the only. It's important to remember that every other country is starting to return to normalcy because they already did the shit they needed to do this year.
Yeah,
and we're the only
because they figured out it wasn't a hoax.
Yeah, what's going to happen is all our TV and all our movies are going to be set in other countries.
So is the pandemic going to be the thing that finally gets American audiences to just stop? It's been tipping that way with Netflix buying like all of Korea's television output, but is this going to be the thing that finally breaks American audiences to be like, fuck it, I'll watch a French show?
Well, I don't know
because there's just nothing else.
I have 22 shows on my TV catch-up list of shows I have either not watched the latest season of, haven't watched any of. I've made a list of here's the TV catch-up. So if the spigot turned off tomorrow, I've still got months of content.
And that's not even rewatching.
That's not even rewatching. Yeah.
I mean, I'm partway through rewatching You're the Worst right now. Tomorrow, as of our recording of this, I think Umbrella Academy season 2 drops.
Yep, and there's still some new content coming. So yeah, Peacock is not in the
season 2 later this year is going to be really good.
Yep, Peacock is not in the advantageous position they think they are. I honestly, I'm puzzled by. Well, Quibi makes a certain kind of sense to me, especially when you find out about Katzenberg and that they just didn't understand it. But Peacock, I can't figure this out. Like, why not at least wait till you have the exclusive? Like, steal 30 Rock and Parks and Rec and all that stuff away. Give yourself some kind of advantage.
Where's my Dracula PD?
The launch of this, I don't know in what world they thought this launch was going to go good.
Yeah.
In a world where all other streaming services have collapsed.
So anyway, this might be the last. This may be the last you hear from Quibi and Peacock for a while, or maybe not. Who knows? But I don't think we're going back anytime real soon. We'll see. We'll see what comes out next week as Netflix starts to drop some stuff again, and I think some other stuff is in the pipeline. But that's it for us this week. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks,
Randy.
Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. And until next week,
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.